Making headlines this hour, President states that the future holds two paths for the Maldives, a constructive path and a destructive path. President says his administration has paid more debt in 2.5 years than the previous two governments paid in 5 years. And Environment Minister states the government aims to plant 1 million trees this year as part of its 5 million tree planting program. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to PSN News in English with me, Mariam Shawshat. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu states that the future holds two paths for the Maldives, a constructive path and a destructive path. Addressing a special gathering following the ruling People's National Congress PNC victory in the election to choose the president of Medu Council, the president said Maldivians face these two choices and that the differences between the two political ideologies are now clear to the public. The president spoke on the differences between the past governments and the current administration and criticized former Maldivian Democratic Party MDP governments, stating that they caused harm to the country in various areas. He said his administration is working to rectify the damage. He further said the People's National Congress PNC has become the party most trusted by the public and attributed its electoral success to policies prioritize the country and religion. He said his government's policies are centered on peace, security and development, unlike previous governments which he said endangered the country's independence and sovereignty. This includes claims relating to the Maldives maritime territory. Describing MDP's ideologies as destructive, the president said his administration would continue to work to correct past damage and strengthen and protect the Maldives' independence and sovereignty. He expressed the government's willingness to spend for the cause. President Muizzu stressed that government decisions are now based on what is best for the Maldives rather than the interests of foreign countries. The president further criticized the MDP's approach to religion, describing it as far from Islamic principles. In comparison, Islam forms the foundation of his government's policies. He further highlighted government efforts to combat drug abuse and vaping, saying both were prevalent under previous administrations. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu says his government has paid more debt in 2.5 years than the previous two governments paid in 5 years. He made the remarks at a rally celebrating the ruling party, People's National Congress PNC's victory in the election held to choose a president for the Medu Council. In the address, the president presented debt repayment figures from different administrations. While the figures show that the current government has repaid $1.29 billion in 2.5 years, the former government repaid $953 million in 5 years. He noted that government before that had repaid $418.18 million over 5 years. Providing details on repayments by the current administration, the president said the government paid $4.9 million of loans taken by his administration. Repayments also include $891 million inherited from the previous administration, $195 million from the administration before that. It also includes $62.5 million repaid for loans borrowed during the administrations of former presidents Mohammad Nasheed and Mohammad Wahid. Additionally, $38.1 million from loans borrowed by President Maumoon Abdul Qayyum's administration has also been repaid. The president also listed further repayments across different administrations. While $239 million remains from loans borrowed by the current administration, $1.14 billion remains from the former government's loans. Additionally, $710 million remains from loans by the government before that, $150.4 million from loans borrowed by President Nasheed and Wahid's administration. According to the president, the total external debt as a percentage of GDP was 51.3% by the end of 2023. President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu says teaching at Arabiya School will begin in the next academic year once practical work on the new campus is completed. Speaking at a gathering following the ruling PNC's victory in the Medu Council, presidential election, the president said the government is committed to strengthening Islamic values, ensuring stability, development and national security. He criticized previous administrations, claiming Islamic education had been neglected and Arabiya school students and parents had faced difficulties for years. He said the current government has allocated permanent land for the school and construction is progressing rapidly. The new 10-story building will feature 42 classrooms, a multi-purpose hall, 4 lifts and other modern facilities. President also highlighted reforms in the police and military services, saying efforts are underway to improve standards and strengthen national institutions. Addressing expatriate issues, he said the government has made significant progress in identifying and deporting undocumented foreign workers, adding that long-standing national issues are now being addressed through ongoing reforms. Minister of Climate Change, Environment and Energy Ali Sharif states the government aims to plant 1 million trees this year as part of its 5 million tree planting program. The minister made the announcement at a tree planting event held at Central Park Hurumale to mark World Environment Day. The tree planting program aims to restore endangered tree species and increase greenery across the country. According to Minister Ali Sharif, 1.6 million trees have already been planted under the program, with plans to plant another 1 million trees during the current year. Speaking at the event, Minister of Foreign Affairs Irtisham Adam said environmental protection is a key pillar of the Maldivians' foreign policy. She stressed that the Maldives is already experiencing the effects of climate change and that sustainable environmental protection is of extreme importance to safeguard people's lives, the economy and culture. The event also marked national milestones, including the 60th anniversary of Maldives' independence and the 60th anniversary of the Maldives' membership in the UN. Participants included government ministers, diplomatic representatives, officials from the HDC and foreign ministry staff. The event aimed to raise environmental awareness, encourage greener lifestyles and highlight the Maldives' role in the international community. The deadline to submit applications for land plots and flats under the government's Housing for All Bohia Wahikang Emmenang initiative expires today at 11:59 p.m. Following a final extension from 31st May, the Ministry of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development announces. Submissions opened in January with original deadlines of 4th March for plots and 17th April for flats consecutively extended. No further delays will be permitted, according to Ahmad Nazim Mohammed, the State Minister of Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. He said that the deadline is strictly expiring. He urged applicants to review guidelines carefully to ensure accurate entries. The initiative distributes 15,000 plots across Greater Malé and Ras Malé alongside 7,900 Malé flats divided by demographics. Flat allotments include 4,000 for Malé residents, 1,500 for capital residents from other islands and 2,400 for priority categories. Land allocations grant 10,000 plots to Malé, 3,000 to residents from other islands, 500 to specific lineal descendants excluded from estate distribution, and 1,500 for citizens relocating from narrow alleyways or exchanging parcels. Previous beneficiaries can upgrade to 3-bedroom apartments based on family size. To broaden accessibility, the ministry amended guidelines. Individuals can apply if a spouse holds property, joint owners can relinquish shared plots to reapply individually, and updated eligibility criteria reopened the application window for disabled applicants. Meanwhile, Bank of Maldives BML has commenced foundational construction in Hurumale and Vilimale, and the administration has initiated procurement to identify developers for affordable housing complexes. The foundation work for the much-anticipated new hospital building in Muli officially begins, marking a significant milestone in healthcare development for Mimu Atoll's residents.
The new 50-bed hospital is being constructed by Maldives Transport and Contracting Company MTCC, which confirmed that foundation work on the building has now commenced. The Muli Hospital project was inaugurated on the 20th of May last year during President Dr. Mohammad Muiz's visit to the island, setting the stage for this expanded development. The four-story hospital building will provide comprehensive additional services at the Muli Regional Hospital, which currently serves as the main healthcare facility for the atoll's population of around 7,400 people. In addition to the main hospital building, the project includes construction of an office building for administrative purposes. The new facility will offer an array of medical services, including consultation rooms, an operating theater, emergency room, neonatal intensive care unit and ICU, pediatric ward, dental services, physiotherapy, and radiology. The building will also feature private rooms, a meeting room, and a children's play area. Spanning over 32,000 square feet, the project has been awarded to MTCC for around 11.1 million US dollars. The Muli Regional Hospital, which the people of Mimu Atoll have relied on for health services for over 30 years, has seen limited development in recent decades despite its importance to the community. The new hospital building is expected to bring about a major transformation in healthcare services for residents of the entire atoll.
The Maldives Food and Drug Authority (MFDA) introduces new food packaging and labeling regulations, granting businesses in the food industry 6 months to ensure full compliance with the new requirements.
The regulation came into effect upon its publication in the Government Gazette and replaces the previous national standard governing the labeling of packaging food products. Under the new rules, all food products must be packaged using food-grade materials specifically intended for food use. The regulation also prohibits the sealing of food products in plastic bottles, including PET bottles, or that are designed for single-use disposal and are not certified as food-grade containers. The MFDA has been granted the authority to withhold, suspend, or revoke the license or registration of importers, exporters, and labeling businesses whose negligence poses a risk to public health. The regulation further makes it an offense to import, manufacture, label, or seal any food product that is incorrectly labeled at its point of origin, whether directly or through a third party. For the importation or manufacture of mislabeled food products, a first offense carries a fine of $649 and the withholding of a license for 7 days. A second offense carries a fine of $6,485 and suspension of the license for 15 days, while a third offense carries a fine of $48,638 and the cancellation of the license. Where mislabeling causes harm or endangers human life, offenders may face a fine of up to $64,851. The regulation also imposes penalties for general labeling violations. A first offense carries a fine of $649, a second offense $6,485, a third offense $32,425, a fourth offense $48,638, and a fifth offense $64,851. A license will be revoked upon a fifth offense. Businesses have 6 months to ensure that all packaging material meet the new food grade requirements, replace non-compliant PET bottles, and update product labels in accordance with the MFDA standards. The authority stated that failure to comply with the specified period will result in fines and could lead to the suspension or cancellation of operating licenses. The previous national standard for packaged food labeling has now been repealed. The MFDA has warned that continued non-compliance will be subject to the full penalties outlined in the new regulation.
The Maldives Customs Service (MCS) releases its time release study 2025, revealing that it now takes an average of 10 days to complete clearance processes for goods being shipped abroad.
The comprehensive study examines the entire export timeline, measuring from the submission of custom declarations to the departure of ships from Maldivian ports. According to the report, the average time for shipping goods by sea stands at 10 days, 10 hours, and 14 minutes. The breakdown reveals that the assessment phase from declaration submission to completion takes around 15 hours and 6 minutes, followed by an additional 17 hours and 31 minutes for payment processing. Offshore requests require 1 day, 16 hours and 55 minutes, while offshore approvals add another 1 day, 9 hours and 47 minutes. Inspections mandated by various government agencies average 1 day, 9 hours and 35 minutes, while booking form approval takes roughly 1 day, 13 hours and 57 minutes. Perhaps most significantly, the study identifies the loading and departure stage as the longest in the entire chain, consuming 2 days, 12 hours and 3 minutes. MCES noted that the findings will be instrumental in identifying opportunities to reduce shipping times through administrative reforms and enhance digital systems.
Maldives Inland Revenue Authority (MIRA) reports in its latest statistics that revenue collected from the airport development fee and the departure tax during the first 5 months of the year rose by 21.1% compared to the previous year.
The two distinct levies imposed on passengers departing from airports within the Maldives for international destinations generated a combined $116.73 million during the 5-month period, up from the $97.28 million collected during the corresponding timeframe last year, according to the authority's report. The data indicates that the departure tax alone accounted for $60.18 million, representing a 20.6% growth from the $49.87 million recorded a year prior. The airport development fee yielded $61.09 million during the first 5 months of 2026, marking a 21.6% jump from the $50.19 million collected in the identical period of 2025. Formally initiated on 1st January 2022, the departure tax is levied on outbound travelers, though several exemptions are maintained. Those legally excused from paying the tax include individuals possessing diplomatic immunity, transit passengers, and children under 2 years of age. The airport development fee, introduced on 1st May 2017, is charged to every passenger flying internationally out of Velana International Airport. Exemptions for the development fee apply solely to individuals granted diplomatic immunity and those classified strictly as direct transit passengers.
The Bank of Maldives BML launches a new promotion that gives customers the chance to win $1,000 every week by using the bank's USD debit card for everyday transactions. The promotion will run until 30th July, providing customers with nearly 2 months to qualify for the weekly cash prize. To be eligible, customers must apply for a new USD debit card through BML. The card can be used for purchases, bill payments and digital transactions. According to BML, cardholders must spend a minimum of $100 on qualifying transactions each week to be entered into the weekly draw. Eligible transactions include payments for subscriptions, tickets and other digital services. BML said the promotion is designed to encourage greater use of digital payment methods while rewarding customers who use their USD debit cards for routine expenses. Customers interested in participating can apply for a USD debit card at any BML branch or through the bank's online banking platform. The bank noted that all qualifying transactions must be completed by 30th July to be considered for the weekly $1,000 prize draw. Politico reports that the U.S. Justice Department's Antitrust Division clears Paramount Skydance Corp's planned $110 billion acquisition of Warner Bros.
Department of Justice officials determined the transaction did not pose a threat to competition, according to the sources. Politico reported, citing one source, that the department approved the merger without requiring any divestitures, behavioral remedies, or concessions. Spokespeople for Paramount and the DOJ spokesperson declined to comment. The clearance gives Paramount another regulatory green light to point to as it seeks to ward off a potential challenge to the deal by California and other states. In April, Paramount also asked the Federal Communications Commission (FCC) to approve foreign investment backing the acquisition. U.S. senators have raised concerns about the Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds and Chinese company taking part. The FCC has yet to make a determination. Analysts had expected the DOJ not to challenge the deal because of Paramount's political connections. Paramount CEO David Ellison's father, billionaire Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, has cultivated ties with President Donald Trump, and the company has hired former Trump officials. Assistant Attorney General Omid Asefi has said that politics would absolutely not drive the DOJ's review of the transaction. Paramount has argued the deal has no antitrust problems and said the combined company would increase competitive pressure on Disney and Netflix. However, several in Hollywood, including actors, directors, writers, and producers, have expressed concern that the merger would result in fewer jobs and less diversity of storytelling. California, New York, and other U.S. states are preparing a lawsuit to block the deal, sources familiar with the matter told Reuters last week.
The UK's Ministry of Defence says British armed forces intercepted a Russian Shadow Fleet oil tanker as it tried to pass through the English Channel in what officials described as the first UK-led operation of its kind.
The ministry said that the Royal Marine Commandos boarded the vessel, Smiltos, and specifically trained officers from the National Crime Agency during a 6-hour operation supported by HMS Sutherland and HMS Ledbury. The ministry added that the operation was conducted in close coordination with France. The tanker will be moved to an anchorage in the south coast of England and monitored for environmental and safety concerns. Ship tracking website Marine Traffic showed that Smithros moved through the English Channel over 24 hours to the morning of June 14th. In a post on social media, Defense Secretary Dan Jarvis said the operation required skill, professionalism, and courage and paid tribute to the armed forces personnel involved. He said Russia relied on its Shadow Fleet to fund its conflict in Ukraine and that the interdiction delivered another blow to what he called Vladimir Putin's illegal war.
The New York Knicks defeats the San Antonio Spurs 94-90 to claim their first NBA championship since 1973.
Jalen Brunson scored a game-high 45 points as the Knicks closed out the best-of-7 NBA Finals in 5 games just days after completing the greatest comeback scene in the championship round. Brunson was named Finals MVP after his relentless performance helped New York come from behind to clinch the title on the road in front of strong contingent of traveling Knicks fans. The Spurs started strong once again and held several double-digit leads all night, but the Knicks crawled back and finally took their first lead with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left to play. The Spurs were unable to come back and the Knicks kept off a dominant championship run that saw them lose just 3 games in the postseason.
Poland's newest train service, the Nipizhny, is proving a hit despite having no Wi-Fi, no air conditioning, and taking hours longer to reach its destination.
The Nipizhny, or unhurried train, is a bet by Polish State Railways PKP that some passengers will pay good money for a slower, more relaxed journey. The train, decked out in the 80s retro style, takes its time on scenic routes through the countryside, giving passengers time to enjoy the train's other main attraction, classic Polish food. In the Woz dining car, hungry passengers dig into traditional Polish fare, kielbasa with onions, bigos sauerkraut stew, and the sour rye soup called zurek are some of the most popular dishes.
Yeah, food was great. I think overall in Polish trains, food is great. And I've ordered sausage with onion and mustard because I think for now there is not many to choose from because they are running out of the food.
The train is full of nostalgic enthusiasts, relaxed day trippers, and parents showing their children how riding the rails used to look in their youth. The Unhurried is not a typical tourist train It connects major cities and takes passengers from A to B just at a more leisurely pace. It's an alternative to Poland's growing fleet of high-speed train called Pendolinos. PKP says the train is for those who want to slow down, travel more consciously, and discover Poland at a rhythm that allows you to really see it. Since launching in April, the train has been connecting major cities and travel hotspots from the Carpathian Mountains to the Baltic coast, and tickets have regularly sold out. Whether they are reminiscing about the old days, heading out for a day trip, or enjoying the food, for passengers of Nishpizhdy, slow and steady wins the race.
And that's all we have for you right now. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more news updates. Have a good day. Goodbye.